Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Well, there he is.
Alive and kicking.
Good afternoon, or good evening, Dale. Nice to see you on this beautiful evening. In the first day of July,
I'll take this
2024.
Over those 90-degree days.
Oh, I'm telling you what, that about killed me.
On Saturday at work, you could cut the humidity with a knife. I mean, go outside to smoke a cigarette, and you were lucky if you could get through it before you were ready to go back in the door because you were just so miserable.
I was out on a field that day. Friday, I thought actually Friday was worse. Friday was a lot more humid than Saturday was. And of course, once we had everything set up and outside, you know, we could have been in a trailer, but the way it was set up, we actually operated for the most part outside. It was under tents and canopies and stuff like that. But it was really nice being out in the breeze. Had a fan on you and just operate away. But that's beside the point. That's not what we're here to do today. For a lot of you that are out there, I'm going to make the usual disclaimer. Dale and I have known each other for a long, long time. We argue with each other constantly. Even when we're not on the phone with each other, we're arguing. But when it comes down to it, we both know each other as each other's backs. These arguments, especially the political ones, will not go any further than this show with me. I won't take them I won't allow them on any of the other shows on this particular radio internet station that we have. And I sure am not going to allow it on any of the other podcasts because it'll disrupt them. That being said, and also, a lot of you, since this is the 1st of July, and you probably know that there's been some political stuff dropped today as far as the Supreme Court ruling and that. We're not going to discuss that one today. Dale and I've conferred in the past hour or so, and we've decided that it's just too current and there's just too much that we don't know yet. So we're not going to argue about that part of it.
Yeah, definitely not enough information yet.
And so that being said, let's argue. What about that debate? The first question I got for you is, was that the real Joe Biden?
Well, he definitely didn't look like Sleepy Joe. He was definitely awake. Those chihuahua eyes he had going on. I definitely think there were some amphetamines involved or something. Without being very intentional about it and being like in a staring contest, that guy would go well over a minute sometimes without blinking. Then he'd blink 5-6 times real fast and he'd go back to staring again. And that's not normal. I think it was induced somehow.
I'm wondering if somehow it was, because he had supposedly had a cold. I'm
Well,
not
a
giving.
cold ain't gonna make you do that.
Well,
Hell, I've had a cold.
the thing of it is, the drugs would. If you were drugged up from a cold, it might. I'm not
How many
giving.
times have you had a
Don't-
cold and were
I
staring
have
in his
been
face
plenty
like
of
that?
times. There are plenty of times where
Well, I
I've
want
been-
what you had. You robo tripping? You take too much of that Robitussin?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that'll
That's
do
good
strange
shit,
things
man.
to you.
That and NyQuil, man. You mix the two of those, you got it good. But
Now, this is why we say the show is not for children.
yeah, and we are not promoting or by any other means any drugs, use of any drugs,
Don't do it. I've seen
possession of
people that
any
did it.
drugs or
Don't do it.
anything like that. We are not promoting any of that. We don't do that here or anywhere else on this Crooked River Radio Network. That being said, let's see what next. Should we argue?
Put a 20-minute disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
I've actually thought about it, to be honest. The way that you and I get rolling sometimes wouldn't be hard to do at all. I could put a 20-minute disclaimer on it. We'd do 40 minutes of stuff or 30 minutes of stuff, and then a 10-minute disclaimer at the end saying that the other disclaimers were just disclaimers and not to disclaim the disclaimers because they were only disclaimers. Anyway, the debate. Let's get into that a little bit. I said this, and I know what your reaction was the first time that I told it to you when we were discussing topics. And I want to go back and cover this a minute. I said to you that anybody watching that debate should open their eyes to it. And if you do open your eyes to that debate, you'll see what a flippin' mess this country is in.
Didn't need that debate to tell me that.
Well, it does to a point because, sure you got a guy that Democratic Party wise, you've got a mumbler. He's old and he's lost. He's just not on top of the ball. At least it doesn't seem to me, or didn't during that debate. On the other hand, you've got a guy that lies so much he believes his own lies. And me as an American voter, I can't.
I would, with what I found during my little bit of research, just trust me, I didn't delve deep into it because I hear enough on a daily basis. I would call it more of embellishing than I would flat out lying. For you to say, you lost 25 pounds when you only lost 20, they're on there. Oh, it's a bold-faced lie. He's lying to the American people. No, maybe he got his numbers mixed up. He was close, most of the time. I mean, it's
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Are you going to remember these exact numbers? No. Oh, I think a lot of it I could call embellishment, maybe making it sound a little bit better than it was.
I'm not sure. I'm not going to come even close to agreeing with that.
Well, one of them that he got caught on allegedly was saying that he had the best economy
exactly
in history. Now, mind you, he had a very, very good economy, irregardless of what you all like to say. The economy was great up until COVID hit. And then, but nobody brings out the fact that, yeah, maybe he didn't have the best one, but it sure as the hell's a whole lot better than the one we have right now. So, was it a mistruth? Technically. But was it really that far-fetched? Absolutely not. I mean, and not to mention that it is perfectly legal for politicians to lie nowadays. And if you think Trump if he got caught. If you think Trump's the only one doing it, you need to crawl back out from under that rock you're sitting under and look at the real world, because Uncle Joe lies just as much as he does. These guys in the Senate, the House, they're lying through their teeth every 5 minutes. Republican, Democrat, it don't matter. They're all a bunch of fucking liars.
If you can accept that, then what do we do to change this?
I don't accept it. I'm just calling a spade a spade. It is what it is. This is what happens.
I mean, when you take and have, I actually did my own research. I took the first 5 questions of that debate. I don't remember exactly how they were worded now or not, what have you. But I took the first five questions of it, and I set out to see what the actual truth rating was on them. And turns out 3 of them were lies. 1 of them was a half truth, and what was left was true. You know, embellishment or not, that's still not a very good track record. When you're in front of the biggest audience that either one of you political people are going to have until probably if there was another debate coming in in September, it was probably the biggest stage you're going to be on.
Well,
and you're sitting there bold-faced lying to the public.
Well, see,
and I'm not saying it was just one; it was both of them.
See, that's where we're getting when we're saying bold-faced lying. Now, when, like the example I gave about the embellishment, I went to 5, 6, 7 different sites, and most of them were bringing up fairly much the same topics. But when they were saying that what Trump says was false, it wasn't like he said, I drove down the street to the Washington Monument. And their idea is, well, yeah, he went down the street to the Washington Monument, but he wasn't driving the car. He lied. He lied because he said he drove down to the Washington Monument. Well, the limo driver drove the car. He wasn't driving. This is the kind of shit that they're cherry picking. It's not like this bold face. I gave $10 million to this group, and I didn't give them a single penny. It's not that. So they're not even comparing apples to apples. It's cherry picking, and they don't. When they do it, they don't say, okay, this is what happened, and this is why we're saying it's false. At least I found a few people that did, but like when you're watching the news, they're not saying that. They're just saying that was false. That was false. That was false. That was false. Well,
and this is why I do more than watch the news.
You know,
because I'm very aware of just exactly what you're talking about.
And
that's exactly why I do what I do as far as my reading and everything else goes. I'm reading stuff on this stuff constantly. I don't like a lot of it. I almost get to the point I'm sick of it. But I do, when I get in the mood to read something, I read it. It's either an article posted online, or it's something that is diversely. It's not one-sided politics. Let's just put it that way. The stations or whatever they're being, the stuff that's being put out is not one-sided. And if it does seem that way, I think a lot of it is. And if it does seem that way, I'll switch to the other side and read that viewpoint.
Because
and that's what as an American you should do.
Different sites that I went to, you could see the difference in how things were portrayed and how they were explained, and different things. You could see, without even knowing who these people were, you could tell which way they were leaning by what you were reading. I mean, that's the thing that I can't figure out. The American people can't figure out. All you got to do is read it, and you know who this guy's voting for. I mean, as soon as you read his article, you know who he's voting for. But I would guess the easiest way, and nobody wants to take the time, is get on there and, if they say the fact is he spent this much money, you go into the government sites and you see how much money was spent, and you see for yourself,
And
so
that's
that you know for yourself.
and that's pretty much.
And nobody does that. Hell, I get on Facebook. They got that 330 to go.
Oh, I dropped out of there.
Cogga Falls Talk of the Town. You get on that one, you'll get somebody on there that's, because of the holiday, trash pickup is going to be delayed. Can anybody tell me when they're picking up my trash? Go to the damn website and look. It'll tell you. I mean, what do you need to get on Facebook to find out when they're picking up your trash, or when you can go get a free light bulb? Go to the city's website. They have this big old website, and it'll tell you when you can do these things. But people are that lazy that they don't research anything, and they take what they're told as the gospel truth, and half of the people you're getting the gospel truth from are full of shit.
I've taken, as far as the social media stuff, I've gotten just plain sick of most of it. As far as the aforementioned 330 thing, those people do not want the amount of people that they've got in there, and they're chasing them off by droves. They chased me out. I won't have nothing to do with that thing anymore, because of the simple fact that they think they're better than everybody else. And that the fact of it is they're not. They're not any more educated. They're not any. This one woman, when I was trying to, I used to post what the weather was going to be, when we'd get weather events. I used to post that in there. This woman comes back and tells me that I've got I'm a a-hole, and I've got such a big head that I think I've got an important job in my own mind. They don't want my services, fine. Go play with yourself. I don't care. It's no skin off my nose. It's one less place I'll post. And I've got a Facebook group, probably about the same size as they are. I got quite a few people in that group, and they don't want my actions. Screw them. Well, that's beside the point. But that is the reason that I quit that group, and there's been others I've done in the past that way. If they don't want to be, at least thank me once in a while for the services I'm providing them, then they don't want my services. If your boss didn't thank you with a paycheck every week, would you be there? My paycheck's a little thank you, that's all.
No, see, our bosses don't thank us with a paycheck. We're supposed to thank them for the paycheck. You haven't been working in a while.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they still think we all owe them something.
The regimes have changed.
Which we do, but they take it to extremes. Not that.
Now let's get back to another topic that I couldn't believe the answer on. Now there's been democratically, I did see a couple of points that I know were complete lies by and they were Democratic Party line is what they were. It was party platform. But on the other hand, your ex-president, when he was asked a direct question about January 6th, you would have sworn he was a ballerina dancing to Swan Lake. He danced around that question so much He was,
Which, yeah, I
he
see
would have
what you're
swore
saying.
he was
I was surprised to that. I figured he would stick to his guns as he has and said, "Hey, this is what I said. This is what went down."
he danced
But
around
no,
more like a ballerina, man.
he just
You
kind
could
of
see him in a
go
tutu.
past it. And it was now I don't know if that trial hasn't even really started yet, right?
No. And
But is there any kind of type of gag order or anything on that he ain't allowed to talk
not
about
that I
yet?
know of. That thing hasn't started yet.
Then
They
his,
can't gag
his
it.
people probably told him, man, don't let them, pull you down the rabbit hole. Just move them by and let the courts decide.
Well,
Probably, if you look at that, maybe knowing that what we had discussed earlier was possibly around the corner, and not wanting to kind of go down that road.
yeah, I could understand that.
But here, answer me this one though. Okay, so I've sat here for a couple minutes and let you go after Donnie, and do your thing. Now, you watched the same debate I did, so I want you to do me a favor, okay, and tell all of us Republicans around here, any Republicans that are listening, watching, whatever, and myself, please tell us what exactly is a black job, and who's taking them? They're taking the black jobs. Taking the black jobs. What's a black job?
Well, both
I mean,
of them.
they're like, you got like white people jobs, black people jobs,
Both
Mexican people
of
jobs.
them.
I mean, if that wasn't racist, that's like saying all Mexicans pick vegetables.
Both of them were
come on
referring
now.
to the same jobs.
I mean,
Both of them were referring to the same jobs because Donald Trump made a couple of comments about how he was giving blacks their jobs. Or he would give them
well,
jobs.
he had the highest African American employment rate of any president. Of course he was going to tout that. But what I'm trying to figure out is, and I think push come to shove, he was trying to say the Mexicans were stealing the black jobs. Well, you let them in here. I mean, you opened up the floodgates down at the border, and then now you're going to complain about it? Come on. I mean, so if he ain't full of shit, and then there was another time he wanted to say presidency and said pregnancy. That was kind of funny. I mean, but hey, the man's as lucid can be.
Now,
I mean, there was,
I will say
questions need to be raised,
I will say that the day after sure showed a lot. He went to that rally and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm going to make things better for you. Eyes wide open and everything. I
heard a thing today that his aides say that he's only good from about 10 in the morning to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then the guy's done. He's completely washed up for the rest of the day, which is probably what they want, so they can do whatever the hell they want to.
I'm pretty much that way myself.
I mean, I don't blame Joe Biden for everything that's gone wrong in this country right now, because if you don't think there are people behind the scenes that are pulling the damn strings, then
and that's
you're just
another
not paying
thing.
attention.
That's another thing too, Dale. Some of the stuff that he is touting as some of the stuff he's done started in the Trump administration, and that was the same stuff with some of what Trump did started with the Obama administration.
Every president does that.
It's trickle down stuff.
Right.
Exactly. We've had trickle down economics in this country since the 1800s.
Damn it, I hate it when I have to agree with you.
Yeah, me too. But
yeah, it is. I mean, it's typical politics 101.
Some of the stuff that both of them were touting were actually started in the administrations before. And I mean, if you look back even in the Obama administration. I was working back then. I was still, I had just retired from Chrysler. And when they came into office, that what they inherited from Bush was a flipping disaster. Bush was probably the worst economic president I've seen in a lot of years. And I'm talking back into the Carter administration. But, he had completely destroyed the economy because of what he was, trying to keep the war going. Now, mind you, I want you to understand, I do realize, and I want some other people, maybe I'll enlighten them a little bit, but normally your wartime economy is probably the best economy you're ever going to have, because the war machine is running. It's getting paid money. It's supplying jobs. It's creating more jobs. That's creating money for people to go out and enjoy life on. And I think, what the hell was that president? I think was it Truman? A chicken in every pot and 2 cars in every garage. Something.
Well, that's like you. My grandma always told me that, one of the main things that, and you basically said it, that you will hear from the Democratic Party. She always said that it was in their platform, but I don't necessarily know that it was written in the platform. She was kind of old school, but was that war brings posterity.
Exactly, and it
that
really
was
does.
Something that she always said that she heard from the Democratic Party, and it's true. But nobody, I think she come off in a way that said they want to send kids off to war to die because they know they can make money off of it. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but yeah, you're exactly right. I mean,
well, the point I was trying to make here is that most of the economies in the past have thrived during your war times. When Bush tried to keep things going with Iraq and all that, that whole situation changed on him, and it wasn't the same. People weren't prepared for that war. The government was not prepared for that war, and a lot of the stuff was being made outside of the country. You have to realize too that back in the ages that I'm talking about, we were a manufacturing country. There was no cars allowed in this country that were made outside of the U.S. And on top of that, your trickle down jobs and I don't know, industries like your steel. That's kind of a trickle down because it all starts there. That was coming into the stuff that came into this country was produced, and your everything from your cars, your automotive, your way down all the way through even entertainment. People were making money, and they had disposable income that was the highest it had been in quite a while. But when Bush came along and all that all didn't happen. And what ended up happening there was your auto companies went bankrupt. And that's what happened in what was it, 2010? Something like that. I retired in 2009, so yeah, it was happening in 2010. And because of that, it didn't happen. Your auto companies were going bankrupt. You had to have a complete switch in the way everything was running, and we no longer were the manufacturing country that we were. And that hurt a lot of Americans that way. Now, when you start getting a leader that comes in and says, I'm going to bring manufacturing back to this country, like Bush did in the beginning, I love that. I would have actually voted for him. Then, now, that's a different story. Now he's pretty much, he showed his true colors. And to me, being that I am the religion that I am, or the Christian that I am, and some other things, my spidey senses go off, and as well as I do, I cannot stand a liar. If you're going to lie to me, don't talk to me. 'Cause I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. If I can't believe you and trust you, then you're not worth bothering with. And yet you're going to have two leaders that are standing up on a public stage. One can hardly keep his eyes open. The other one can't help but stumble over the lies he's telling. And what have they given us to try to vote for?
Oh, speaking of lies, what I didn't get to earlier, of course, nobody fact checked this one. We had President Biden up there saying that under Trump, all the manufacturing jobs ran out of the United States. One of the things Trump talked about was bringing back manufacturing jobs, and he brought back quite a few of them. A lot of company headquarters came back to the United States. A lot of that stuff happened.
He could have brought
nobody
a lot
fact
more.
checked that one.
He could have brought
nobody fact checked that one. So these people out there are just going to believe that.
I know for a fact.
I saw it.
I know for a fact that the one thing that killed manufacturing in the United States was NAFTA. There ain't no doubt about that. All the companies found out that it'd be cheaper, that they were allowed to leave.
Clinton.
Exactly. They were allowed to leave, and they could get much less.
And Trump started putting down the tariffs and making it cheaper for them to come back and do their business in the United States. But yet you got Joe up there saying that, he sent all the manufacturing jobs overseas. But like I said, now on your list of fact checking,
we both know better than that.
Did nobody fact check that shit? So we're just going to allow that lie to just, and to me, that wasn't, embellishment. That was a flat out freaking lie. And so once again, it goes back to they're all doing it, but everybody trying to make it look like Lazy Joe was just so honest. So great with the American people. You don't know what he ate.
Lazy Joe had enough problem keeping up with himself that night.
Exactly. You didn't know what the fuck he ate for breakfast. Let alone what the hell Trump did.
What the hell happened last week?
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Don't you think, though, Dale? Don't you think it's really a sad time in America?
Yes, absolutely. Now, like I told you when we were on the phone, I will stand firm that this is still pretty much the greatest country to live in, and I will stand by that, and I love my country, but this is not the country I grew up in. Not anymore, not even close. It's too many things have changed for what I would like to say the worst. And, what are you going to do?
I hate to say it, but I really agree with you. This is not the country I grew up in. This is not even close.
I mean, there's always been political bullcrap going on,
Well,
that's just part of it.
You've had political bullshit
day-to-day
since the Korean War.
Different. It cost me $4 a gallon to put gas in my car today. I mean, really?
Yeah.
On a damn Monday? Ain't even the weekend. I mean, I know the holiday's coming up. Maybe they're trying to make a couple extra bucks, but come on.
Yeah, I know.
$4.
I know.
And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Anything else we got to argue about on this topic before we switch to the other stuff that we'd planned?
Oh, well, we can switch to the other one, but, like in our normal quote unquote closing arguments, something may come to me. Because I have a tendency, I get talking and then you and I get sidetracked or something, and then a little bit later something comes back to me. But
Yeah, we can always.
other than that, I think we've covered the bases.
We can pretty much switch on to the other one, which was
People in the U.S. being mean.
yeah, okay. I've got a clip, but I don't know if
Actually, real quick,
Go ahead.
just to tell you about it, just before we change subjects, I have a video that I'll have to send to you so you can watch it, because it'd be too hard. I wanted to get the time to put minute marks down so that you could, put this up and let people see it, so that, without having to show the whole entire thing. But they had Kamala Harris in an interview after the debate. And now mind you, she's getting interviewed by everybody's favorite Democrat. Shit. Oh, the guy with the Lord, his name will come to me. But anyways, he used to have TV shows and shit. Now he's a CNN anchor. And
I know who you're talking about.
not that it matters, but he's gay. That came out.
I know
Anderson Cooper.
And I was.
So I mean, she's in a friendly room, and he asked her. If he asked her once, he asked her 10 times. Is President Joe Biden the same man today that walked into that White House 3 years ago? Well, let me just tell you this. What he has done, and she would not, and you could see it.
That's a typical politician.
Right, but it was funny. There were certain things she said where she was saying, absolutely not. Hell no, he isn't. But she would not come out and say the words. And I did. I understood. That's her vice president.
You talking about...
That's her job. That's her bread and butter.
You talking about...
If she ain't president, she don't get paid no more.
You talking about stuff like that just brought something else I saw to mind.
I was surprised to see that coming from Democrats. But, I mean, she wouldn't even try to make it look like he was being good. She would just immediately try to shift the focus over to, well,
that was the same thing.
He did this yesterday.
That was the same thing Trump did when they asked him about the January 6th. Let's talk about anything but that. But
that one cracked me up because that one's been over talked anyways.
There was one that
everybody knows he stands firm. The video has showed. He said peacefully protest. Then, we talked about, they have on video, and I've heard it, Nancy Pelosi talking about how somebody's going to have to pay for this. And she was scared because she was offered 10,000 National Guard troops, and she turned them down and said, we don't need them. So after she turned them down, he went, okay, well, I guess they don't need them. And he went on about his business. And all of a sudden, he didn't try to do anything. He didn't do anything. He could have sent them National Guard troops. He wouldn't send them National Guard troops. And he wouldn't do this and he wouldn't do that. Now you got a video out or a recording of her telephone conversation with somebody else where she's explicitly saying that the man offered her the frickin' troops and she refused them. But yet we've been bickering over this for 3 frickin' years now about how he supposedly did this, didn't do something else, when the proof's in the pudding. But guess what? You don't hear anybody talking about that, do you? Because all the news channels are owned by the freaking Democrats, at least the ones that are watched on television. They're all liberal. Every last one. Even Fox News has gone liberal. Shit. So, I mean, the truth doesn't come out unless you seek it out and you find it. And there it is.
There was one that stuck out to me during that debate, and you're gonna love this one. He thought he was playing Joe Cool when he gave this answer, and they had asked him It was about the war in Croatia. And they said, if you were president, would you have solved this by now? And he looks into the camera. He says, yes. Give me the first day that I take office. I'll have that solved, and that'll be over with.
Oh, wait a minute. No, you want to say Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah. That was...
Yeah. So people out there, Croatia's like old shit.
Just give me in my first day in office, I'll have that all solved. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, and correct my twisted mind here. Just so now, mind you, you and I have actually had a couple of discussions on if his partnership or friendship with Putin is good for this country or not.
It's not a friendship. That's what you guys can't
bullshit,
figure out.
Dale.
They are civil to one another, and
so what it looked like he was going to say is, yeah, I'll just get on the phone with him. We'll talk around.
Democrat.
I'll send him a couple women. That'll be the end of it.
Typical Democrat.
Typical Republican.
It's a matter of if you are going to have, hey, keep your enemies or keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Okay, you have to have, in order to have a respectful relationship, you have to open the lines of communication. If we're gonna be, not fighting and not having problems, then there has to be some conversation going on. And Donald Trump is willing to do that. But at the same time, Donnie flat out tells him, you step out of line, this is what's going to happen. Now, these people know that if he says this is going to happen, he will not fucking hesitate. He will do it. So they tend to, you notice as soon as Trump went out of office, all of a sudden now all these other countries are fucking around. They weren't doing that before. And it wasn't because he was friends with them. They knew where they stood in the world community, and he made it clear to them. He kept the lines of communication open, and he talked to them, was civil, and said, hey, listen, we're not going to allow this. But everybody turns that into, oh, he's best friends with fucking Putin.
Yeah, look
you didn't see no Russians running maneuvers off the fucking coast of Florida back when Trump was in office, did you? No, you didn't. Well, where were they? And guess what? When Justine and I are in California, guess who's supposed to be running maneuvers off the coast of frickin' off of San Francisco? The Russians. They've already told them they're going to do it. They've already told them they're going to be there. You wouldn't have saw this shit.
Yeah, he wouldn't have saw it because he wouldn't have allowed it. He wouldn't have allowed it in the press.
Wouldn't have allowed it in the press. Donald Trump was in the press getting bashed every single day. If they would have had some shit like that, you don't think that wouldn't have been pasted on the frickin' front page? But it wasn't, was it? No.
Nope.
There we go. There you have it.
Yeah, I guess.
Got nothing, don't you? You got nothing.
I'm looking to make sure we haven't had any comments online.
It is what it is. And people need to wake up. Donald Trump is a dick. Okay? Plain and simple.
He is.
Donald Trump is a dick.
That's the first time I've ever heard you admit that. He was a
damn good president.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay.
Maybe in the beginning.
Bill Clinton was getting ass in the White House. Oh, wow. Sorry about your luck. There were some things he did that were good. We just won't give him, NAFTA. Okay, you screwed the pooch on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I'd be the first one to admit that Trump did some good. But what happened? Trump did some good, but what happened?
What happened is
and then once he lost
every time a president gets elected. Everything a president does gets reversed on the day that a new president comes into office if they're of the opposite political party. It's the same thing Trump did. It's the same thing Biden did. Reversed everything.
And it'll probably happen
That's
again.
just what they do. And if Trump is elected, first thing he's going to do is write off everything that Joe Biden did, whether it was good, bad, indifferent, or in between. Guess what? He's going to 955 executive orders is going to be the first 15 minutes of his presidency is going to be shutting down everything Biden did. Now, if I were him, I'd just have X amount of people at the ready. And the second he's inaugurated, I'd have the border flooded with Border Patrol agents and shut that thing down for 5 minutes until they get control of it.
Well, he's not elected yet.
No,
Nope.
he's not.
Nope, he's not. Oh, God, this is fun.
Unless, you Democrats might still have a little something up your sleeve. Who knows?
Yeah.
A couple bags here, a couple bags there, a couple more bags over here. Nothing to see here. Move along.
You Republicans may be tripped up over all his lies.
I'm still waiting. I'm telling you, I'm still waiting for them to announce Michelle, but I don't know. They said he had a talk with his family at Camp David, I think it was, about his future as president. And well, of course, his son, old Hunter, it's like, no, Dad, keep running. No shit, because that's the only thing keeping you out of fucking prison. I mean, of course he wants Daddy to keep running.
Oh. Once he enters the zone where he's completely free to do whatever he wants to, and with no repercussions, he'll be above the law.
It's not like that.
That's what it said.
Official business.
That's what
read it.
Well, you can call anything official business. I was president.
Exactly. But we still haven't determined what official and unofficial business is yet. That's where, once that happens, we should be able to have our discussions, because then I think that will complete the picture.
Yeah.
Because right now that's the thing. They're saying, you got that and this, and the lower courts are going to determine the other part. And well, of course, that may actually go all the way back to the Supreme Court too. Who knows? But until that little part is solved, then
they're going to be fighting.
We're kind of at a standstill.
They're going to be fighting this stuff for 20 years.
Because you really can't judge, how loose or strong of a law this is yet until they got all the pieces kind of set up. But it'll be interesting.
They're going to be
interesting to watch.
This stuff is going to be around for the next 20 years. You wait, it'll at least 5, and that's being generous. That's just the way this law crap works. They're just going to keep fighting it back and forth. But anyway, as far as the other topic, you want to go into that a little bit? We can do that.
Well,
you think Americans becoming mean?
Long time ago. Well, no, not a long time ago, but yes, absolutely.
What do we do about it?
People need to wake up. It's like, I remember, I'll go back to the childhood again, where you and I were saying life was so different. You always have those little cliques when you're in school. You got your burnouts and your jocks and your preppies and your this and your that, and everybody knows there's parties going on in high school. We would all get together. Everybody would hang out together. There was rarely a fight or any type of violence or anything like that. And we lived and we enjoyed ourselves. Now it's like, if you accidentally use the wrong pronoun, I got to scream and yell at you. Or it's like, I have free speech up until, or I have free speech and you have free speech too, up until you say something that I disagree with. And then we got to tell you to shut the fuck up because you don't have free speech anymore. It's just people have gotten generally mean, demanding. Look at the violence. We've always had violence, but it is like getting much, much worse. It's running rampant all over the place. People are just mean. And until, people come together and forget about their politics and forget about the color of somebody's skin and forget about their sexual orientation. It's like, hey, myself, being a Christian, in a Christian religion, we don't agree with abortion. We don't agree with homosexuality, stuff like that. But you know what? I'm in charge of my house. And what goes on in my house is my business. Now, if you so choose to go down a different road, that's your business. To me, I feel it's not for me to judge you. That's what God does. So I can sit and hang out with a gay person. I can sit and hang out with black person, Mexican, Chinese person. It doesn't matter to me. Race, color, sex, nothing. That doesn't matter. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. And everybody should get along. But until people look past these little divides that are being the separation, the media is trying to separate everybody into these little pods. It used to be, like I said, in high school, we were all in these different little pods, but we came together and we got together and we hung out and we got along. But that's not happening anymore. If you're not in my little group, I'm not allowed to talk to you anymore. And if you're in somebody else isn't in my group, then now I got to beat you up. Well, that's not the way it should be.
Well, even if you look, and I've seen this on social media so many times, it's pathetic. Especially when you start getting into the political arenas, as some of the people that watch and listen to our broadcasts are. You can attack somebody's political beliefs, or you can tell them that you can give them facts and what have you. That's one thing. But to sit there and call somebody a Nimrod or an a-hole or whatever you want to call them and attack them personally, that's where this stuff's got to stop. And that's where America needs to be a little more gentle. They need to learn to get away from this anger that is enwrapping this country. And it's pretty much because a lot of it's got to do with the politics. Some of it doesn't. Some of it's the economy. Some of it's the stuff that's going on around their personal lives. But America is too tied up in the anger to actually really live its life the way it ought to.
Well, you have to keep in mind too that also a lot of these recent generations are in comparison to the older generations.
They're soft like that, Dale.
They're soft. Like, okay, you tell me that you weren't called a name when you were younger.
Oh, I was.
I was called names when I was up. I'm called names today. Crap. I mean,
yeah, asshole.
I mean, exactly.
Burger flipper.
Am I going to lose freaking sleep over it? No. I don't let that stuff bother me. It's kind of like with the Facebook. If I put a political thing up there, I'm expecting someone is going to say something negative on my post and possibly attack me. But the difference is me being the asshole that I am, as you brought up, that's the whole reason I do it in the first place. It's just so for my pure entertainment of reading what the hell these people write. Now, so I don't let that, I don't sweat small stuff. You can call me names all you want. I'm talking, when we're talking mean, I'm talking about the violence and the people not being allowed to speak. At least whether you agree with me or not, I get to speak. You can call me a dickhead for having an opinion all you want, but at least you let me talk. I mean, so it's
But what a lot of this is coming down to, though, Dale, is
crapshoot.
it's not. It's the anger is that's getting me the most about this stuff, and it's
A lot of it.
It's anger over flipping politics. It's anger over, you know, who does what to who to where.
A lot of it, I don't think, is even anger. It's, you remember back in the day, you would have a problem with somebody, and you guys would go have a discussion, and then
it's behind the mic.
It might come to fisticuffs, it might not, but whatever.
You can always hide behind the mic.
Now you got a bunch of little bitches hiding behind a keyboard, and they'll talk all the smack all day long because they're hiding behind a keyboard. But if they saw you, would they say any of that shit to you? Hell no. Wouldn't say a damn word.
And as far as
the sky's blue.
As far as your comment a little bit ago about it being the younger generation and all that, I call bullshit on that one. If you listen,
well, you got a lot of the adult group that has fallen into suit. If
you listen to the particular frequency that I hang out on 1.2 meters, those guys every night it's the same shit. One will start up, well, Biden did this and his politics are terrible. Well, Don's going to fix it. Well, I can't stand that he did this, and I can't stand Trump's going to come in here and he's going to save the world, and blah, blah. And it goes like this. It goes on for hours. And I've gotten to the point I can't listen to my amateur radio that way. Because of
I can see if it's going on that long, but I mean, what are we doing?
I have to reach over there and turn the damn mic or turn the
hell are we doing?
Down.
At least from what you're telling me, it sounds like they're at least having adult discussions. They may not agree with each other, but they're having adult discussions. Now they should find something else to talk about occasionally.
Yeah, they should get over it. I mean, but it's the same crap over and over and over and over, and I get sick of listening to that. That's not what amateur radio's for.
Well, no, yeah, that's you get politics blasted to you on your internet, on your TV, on this. Everywhere you go, you get the politics and whatever thrown in your damn face. Now, to me, that's, where you go to get away from it. It's kind of like I'm trying to teach a guy at work. He fights with his girlfriend all the time. Okay, so what he likes to do is, because they got to check up on each other 24 hours a day. He'll go to work, and every time he goes to smoke a cigarette, he has to go call her. Or she'll call or text him. She'll text him while he's working with mean things or whatever. Sometimes they're nice. And then he's got to go call her about it when he goes to smoke. Me, if I get in an argument with Justine, work is my refuge. That's where I go to get away from that. You think I'm going to go to work and continue to argue with you? No, I'll do that when I get home. Right now, I get 8, 10, 12 hours where I don't have to concern myself with that shit. And that's what these guys on the radio need to be doing, is spending time, just hanging out and talking and forgetting about that shit for 5 minutes.
Oh, that's you've got a very valid point there, and that's why a lot of times I get on the radio. That radio is a lot of my respite. It's a if I've got something that's bugging the crap out of me in life, or if I've got a doctor's appointment coming or something like that, I don't want to sit there and listen to flipping 6 hours of politics. I'll just turn the damn thing off and do something else. and then I'll go to HF or I'll go to 2 meters or whatever. You know, these guys just have to live this stuff, and I don't see how they do it and stay alive. I could never, if that's, it's just like some of this other stuff that I've complained about in commercials before, where you're in some of these channels, you're subject to roughly 10 minutes every 20 minutes of commercials. And these commercials are not anything, lighthearted. These commercials are, you've got, I'm going to try to make this as normal as I can. Take so and so for HIV. What do I need to see that shit for? I ain't gay. What do I need to see that crap for? I have no intention on ever taking it. Hell would be froze over before I'd do that. Yet 15, 20 minutes out of every hour, that damn commercial's on there, and it's playing over and over and over again. Ozempics, that's another one. I've gotten to where I make fun of that song. Or
that one. Yeah, that one's on a lot. Because Justine is like addicted to the same exact TV channel. And yeah, they blow that up the whole night.
And then that other one for Ricosi, I think it is. About the little blue pill. Let's get the story to tell.
Yeah, that's the Ozempic. Yep.
No, that's
the woman doing the little dance and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ozempic.
The one
no, actually, you're right. It's not.
That started out to be a beached whale, and then they ended up changing her.
No, my favorite is because the channel that I watch.
Before we get off this topic, let me finish that. I made up. It's the little blue pill that's got the story to tell, and if you don't like it, you can go to hell, where your friends are.
But yeah,
that's my little song for that.
Is they do the same thing. They got this one commercial that they play over and over again. It's for that Sadiq 2 or something like that.
Suck it, you.
No, I'm like suck dick 2. I'll sit there and I'll be like, Justine, just take a suck dick 2.
Suck it, you. I'm more like suck it, you. Let's advertise our new product. Hey. Suck it, you.
Just suck dick 2.
Suck it, you, and suck dick 2.
That one, they shove it down my throat, but I laugh every time it's on because I make fun of it.
Yeah, the women in that one ain't half bad looking. At least that one Arabic looking woman that they had on there, and with that first commercial they come out with, it was soaking in the tub. I always wanted to see what was under that towel. But I digress. Anyway, we can probably wrap this up for tonight if you want. We're at an hour and 4 minutes point, so I was kind of leery about coming on here tonight with the fact that other news dropped. That's why I asked that we didn't discuss it too much tonight. And thanks for agreeing with me, even though we're supposed to argue about it.
We usually know what we're going to talk about long before the show.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we'll have to come up with maybe we'll do that topic next in 2 weeks. Like I said, until they actually come down with the ruling of what is considered official and what is considered unofficial, I think it's moot point. It's going to be nothing more than opinion on opinion about something that we still don't know anything about yet. All we know now is that they are going to protect a president
because what they're trying to do is that in Article 2, it says there are protections for the president for things like this, and they're trying to follow that. But because of recent events, now apparently we have to go down and we've got to figure out, okay, what are we going to call official and what are we going to call unofficial? Now, to me, right there, when they come with that part of the ruling, there's the whole argument is if we, one of us believes that something else should be considered an official act as opposed to unofficial or vice versa. But until they do that, I think it's a waste of damn time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's purely speculation.
All right, we can go ahead and wrap it for tonight then. I'll do a quick rundown of what we've got coming up here on the Crooked River. This is probably going to be it until possibly Thursday night. If not, if there's nothing Thursday night, which will be announced on the webpage and on the Facebook page, there will be the next thing up will be Four Guys on Sports. We're going to try to get together next weekend to put it all back together. There's some trades coming up. There's some draft picks coming up and stuff like that.
Talk about Bronny.
And that's probably going to be another thing. Bronny playing with his father. A whole bunch of stuff there. Then we got Radioactive coming Sunday night, I should say. That's going to be end up being a fun show because that's as of this coming Wednesday at a little bit before noon. That's when we started broadcasting. That's when we put Crooked River together. And what I'm going to try to do over the course of the next 3 or 4 days is I want to put together a couple of segments on, with our favorite parts of what's happened here on the radio station. Also, there will be, coming up the 4th of July, I am going to take an open up from probably 10 o'clock in the morning until probably the end of the next, we may even run this all weekend. We'll do the 4th of July songs. And on top of that, I'm going to open up the vault. It's been about 3 years since I've actually taken and opened up the whole 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s vault. And I think we're about due there. There's some stuff from the 50s that are all really old classics. There's some stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that you hear here all the time, but they always sound cool. And then we'll probably come up into the 2000s. But anyway, that'll be something to look forward to. Probably starting about 10 o'clock Thursday morning. And I think that's about all I got to cover. Like I said, the Crooked or the Radioactive show will be celebrating that the station birthday come Sunday night. So please try to join us. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap her up. And Dale, thank you all as always for taking the time to come in and argue with me. It's always appreciated, man. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
We will see everybody.
It'll be something to do.
We will see. We're going to stay on Monday nights, so we'll argue in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight. Have a blessed weekend or week, everybody. Stay cool, stay dry, keep your powder warm, or keep your powder dry and your woman warm. And we'll see you at the next show.